Okay, Joe was able to drive at a speed of 75 miles per hour on the first leg of a 355-mile trip. Okay, and then he had to reduce his speed to 65 miles an hour for the remaining 2 hours. All right, so we have a lot of data here. Let's try to organize our data. We know the formula for these distance problems is distance equals rate times time. Okay, so when we organize our data, we want to put in this formula sort of at the top here. Distance equals rate times time. All right, we have two things going on. We have the first leg of the trip and the second leg of the trip. Now, when we plug in the numbers here to sort of organize our data here, the first thing I notice is that the entire trip was 355 miles. So I'm going to put the total here, 355. Now on the first leg, he was able to go 75 miles an hour. That's a rate, so I'll put that there. And we don't know how long he spent in the first leg, so we'll use a variable there. We'll use t. The second leg of the trip here, he had to reduce his speed to 65 miles an hour. So I'll put the 65 here. And he was that leg there, it looks like it lasted 2 hours. So that's the time too. Okay, so distance equals rate times time. So to fill in this blank distance box here, I'll put in 75t, right? Rate times time. Now to fill in this blank box, I'll put in 65 times 2, which is 130 miles. Okay, 65 miles an hour for 2 hours gets you 130 miles. So we know actually the distance he went on the second leg. Okay, so here I think we can get our setup out of this column right here. To set this up, we know the total distance was 355, so let's take 75t, that's the distance for the first leg, plus that 130 miles, which was the distance for the second leg, and the total for the trip was 355. Okay, so I'm adding those distances up, and I got a total. This is our setup. Once we have our setup, usually it's not so hard from there. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this. First we would subtract 130. So that would leave us with 75t equals, was that 225? Okay, and then we would divide here by 75. Okay, t is the time for the first leg, so that's what we're actually looking for. T equals then 225 divided by 75 is 3. Okay, so then the first leg of the trip lasted 3 hours. So take advantage of making this chart to organize your data. And once you have your data organized, try to look for one of the columns or one of the rows that will allow you to set it up using algebra to solve it that way, rather than just guessing and checking at the answer.